In this town, there's no off-season. The news never stops, and neither do we. It's always game day in Cleveland with Andy Baskin and Daryl Ryder.
It's always game day in Cleveland, and we are brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. Of course, he's Daryl Ryder, and I'm Andy Baskin. Browns stuck on 3 wins, just 1 game to go for the rest of the season. That'll be at Baltimore. And at the time we recorded this, we still don't know what time or what day the game is. It looked like a team that didn't really want to win. I'm going to be honest with you. 20-3 was the final. You tell me.
I think that they tried to win, but they had the personnel that enabled them to
not win.
Yeah. I mean, look, Dorian Thompson Robinson, we've talked about, he's just not an NFL caliber quarterback. When you can't make basic throws to guys in the backfield, little swing passes, you can't find guys, you can't throw to guys in the flat. That's just elementary football, not being able to do that. The numbers look a lot better than what he actually played, 170 yards passing, but like he had 82 yards in the third quarter passing. So some of that came in garbage time, but 24 of 47 for DTR. Jerry Jeudy, was targeted quite a bit. He lamented the dropped passes he had. He took a lot of accountability for that. Mm-hmm. Grant Delpit said in the locker room just how ridiculous the mistakes have been this year. Joel Bitonio was asked point blank if they have underachieved this year, and he just looked dead at the person that asked, said yes. and then the follow. Well, can you expand upon that a little bit? And then he mentioned the penalties, the turnovers, whatever. Right. DTR again, 3 intentional grounding penalties. He had another.
What is that all about?
Another fumble, strip sack, another interception. He has now 10 interceptions against 1 touchdown. By the way, the last quarterback to start a career with 10 interceptions and 1 touchdown was, drum roll please.
Just tell me.
Ryan Leaf.
Ooh, ouch. At least he's turned a corner in his life. That's all that really matters. So, I covered him in high school, in case you're wondering.
So that tells you...
don't really care. I gave you a great nugget, and you just don't care.
I'm happy for you.
And you didn't even say what high school. I would have said CMR in Great Falls, Montana. But that's all right. You didn't want to talk about it. So keep rolling on the Browns because you're crushing them pretty good. Keep going, Daryl. Keep going.
Please do tell us all about Ryan Leaf.
Oh, well, he lost to Helena Capital in the state championship game, or state semifinal. He was not very happy about that. No, wait. No, he lost to Missoula Big Sky. Sorry.
I asked you to tell me about it, and you can't even get the facts right.
Well,
now you want to know why I blew through it. Well, there you go.
He lost to Missoula Big Sky. Yep, I remember. And then Big Sky played Helena Capital in the final.
Okay.
And so Ryan Leaf went on. Ryan said after the game, and I don't even know if Ryan remember. This is a great quote. Ryan said after the game that doesn't matter that I didn't win this game. I'll be in the NFL in 4 years, and those guys over there will be picking rocks. He actually said that after the game. The ironic part about it was he was in the NFL, and the guy who was quarterback for the other team was a landscaper.
Wow.
Worked out perfect. You knew exactly what he was talking about.
I thought you were going to say not only did Ryan Leaf end up in the NFL, but he also ended up picking rocks.
You could have said breaking rocks at one point. Although I do love the fact that he's turned his life around. Yeah. I think that's an amazing story.
But the point of that is...
we can't talk about the Browns because this is a Browns post-game podcast. But the Ryan Leaf stories are way better.
Also today was another banner line on the resume of why to keep Andrew Berry as the head football guy for this team. The guy he cut in training camp looked like somewhat of a professional quarterback, and DTR just didn't look like he belonged on the field.
He did something his team couldn't do this year, score 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, and it's maddening how many games the Browns have lost where the defense has given up 20, 23 points in a game. I think now 23 points, I think that puts him 1-12 just off the top of my head. Like, that's not great. And also, too, the point totals in the last 4 games have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller offensively. Just 3 points. Kevin Stefanski, how bad is the kicking situation right now? He didn't want to try a 55-yard field goal. Last year, he wouldn't have blinked twice about doing it. This year, no. Went for it on 4th down instead. Ended up, giving the ball up on downs. They turned it over a couple of times on downs. It's just overall a sloppy game. And just really emblematic of the sloppiness that we have witnessed throughout this very disappointing and underwhelming football season.
Couple of injuries in this game too. Denzel Ward was out. Jerome Ford ended up going out in this game. I wonder,
Hickman.
I wonder if any of those guys don't, if it's a meaningful game, if they stay out for the entire game. I wonder some of that. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is to give you all there was another one in there, Pierre Strong.
Yeah, Pierre Strong.
Also, Jerome Ford ankle injury, Denzel
Who knows?
Ward
They may
shoulder.
have to bring in a running back.
Jordan Hicks head injury, Pierre Strong head injury. So
Ouch.
those were the 4 injuries that they had to deal with on Sunday, but not why they lost the game. No. I mean, they again, basic offensive execution was lacking. Judy also took accountability for some of the pre-snap penalties. Not getting set, getting called for so many illegal shifts this season. He's like, I needed to be better with that, and that's on me. So I'm going to give Jerry a lot of credit. He took a lot of accountability after the game. He actually said he felt that DTR played great. It's just he let him down by not making the plays that were in his direction. So, again, I admire him for taking accountability for his substandard performance. I just don't know that I agree that DTR played great by any stretch of the imagination, especially when, again, basic swing passes to running backs in the backfield are not getting to them. They're landing at their feet. Or they're off target, throws to the flat are high and wide, just basic stuff. It's the game is too fast for DTR. That's what's very clear to me. He's not able to read defenses and secondaries very well, especially when defenses make adjustments to what the Browns are trying to do offensively. So, Kevin Stefanski non-committal on who his starting quarterback will be for the season finale in Baltimore. I don't know. Will we get QB 40? Will it be Bailey Zappi?
I don't. What do they have to lose on this one? It was the same thing I said when they were playing DTR. What do they have to lose? Why not see Bailey Zappi? I mean,
right now they have the 3rd pick in the draft. If the draft were to be held this very moment, the Browns have the 3rd pick. Do you think they really want to do what the New York Giants did today and win a game that really they don't want to win? But here's the thing, too.
Can't tell players not to win, though.
Of course not. But I'm just saying, organizationally, this was a good loss for the Browns.
Right.
But also organizationally, it was a bad loss for the Browns, if that makes sense. I know that sounds like I'm speaking.
There were a lot of, it's crazy. There were a lot of Dolphins fans here, but there weren't a lot of fans in general. And then you had a big sinkhole that was blocking the way into the stadium. It's just another reason why it's so backwards to be playing down here. But, there's only one way into the stadium today.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was one way, and you had to be here 3 hours before the game or 2 hours before the game to get there.
Yeah. Not the easiest place to get to, especially when there are problems like sinkholes. I looked in my mentions on social media, and some fans wish this stadium would fall into a sinkhole.
Save some money, wouldn't it? Save some folks some money.
Well, it'd certainly get a new dome built in Brook Park real fast, wouldn't it? But you know what? I think we got the only positive to come out of this game was Myles Garrett making the history with the 2 sacks to get him to 14. He is the only player in NFL history now to have 14 sacks in 4 consecutive seasons. Granted, they didn't start tracking that stat since 1982, but when you're talking about him being in the same categories as the Reggie Whites of the world and Lawrence Taylors of the world, right?
Yep.
And he's definitely thinking about legacy beyond just, his own personal stats. He wants to be doing these things in meaningful football games. Today was not a meaningful football game. So unfortunately, yes, it's nice for us to talk about. Yes, it's a nice accomplishment. Certainly Myles can feel proud of that. He is a generational pass rush talent that this franchise has really never had before, Andy. But the reality is it comes in what was a miserable afternoon of football. And unfortunately, outside of Myles Garrett, it doesn't mean a whole lot, right? One of the 2 sacks came on 3rd down, at the time, meaningful play. But yeah, when your offense can't score more than 3 points and do a whole heck of a lot, and your quarterback has 80+ yards passing in the 3rd quarter of a game where he's thrown it 30 times by then.
Right.
It's untenable. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the other hard part too for Browns fans is you everyone wants to peek down and see what's going on in Tampa. Baker Mayfield threw 5 touchdowns against Carolina. They're now 9-7 on the season too. So they're going to see some postseason action, and the Browns aren't. And a lot of fans will sit back and go, why are they in this spot? But that's something we can talk about a little bit later in the week. We still are undetermined as we speak about the Ravens. So
we don't know. I'm going to make an educated guess that the Ravens and Steelers will play at the same time because the AFC North is up for grabs. Therefore, the league likes to bracket those games together. And
Cincinnati's still alive.
Listen, once you watch this podcast on YouTube or you listen wherever you get your podcasts, including the free Odyssey app, by the time you listen to it, that will have been decided. It is going to be announced during Sunday Night Football. But right now, as we record this post game, we do not have that information to pass along. By the way, loss 13 on the year. If they lose next week, it'll match the 1999 expansion Browns with 14 losses in the season. Of course, remember, they lost 15 back in 2016, and they lost all 16 games in Myles Garrett's rookie
Thanks
year.
For the memories, Daryl. Thanks for the memories. For Evan O'Brien, our amazing producer, he's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. It's always game day in Cleveland. We're back with you midweek with another full podcast after that. This has been the postgame podcast. Browns lose. The Browns lose. We'll say it that way, but a little bit deeper. 20-3 to the Miami Dolphins.